mood to be here on this show today. So I'm hoping that within the day there's nothing that's going to spoil it. Hopefully as well, you're having a good day as you join us here on Biashara Tuesday. Ensure that you're commenting on us on our social media platforms at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_OKENYE. Let me know if you're in a good mood, and if you're not, just let us know what it is that's getting in the way of you having a successful week. Of course, there's a lot that's happening across the country that could be your issue of contention. So I'd love to know what that is for you, and we find a way to solve that, or even get to discuss it here and find solutions right here from the show, and also even as we discuss throughout the show. Now, here, there's a lot that we can speak about this morning. I'm going to get the bad news or the bad content out of the way before we get into the nitty-gritties of the juices of Biashara Tuesday here this morning. So maybe we begin with the current devastating situation that the Republic has been facing. For the past 2 weeks, every single morning that we get up, there are casualties from the massive, heavy rainfalls that are happening across the country. El Nino has been hitting us for 2 months straight, but for the past 2 weeks, it's been really severe. No one has been spared, from the highlands to the lowlands, from the rich suburbs of Nairobi to the slum dwellers of any other region of the country. This has been quite a disaster that we are facing. The opposition is coughing. Finally, last week we heard from the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, of the leader of the opposition, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, of course, giving warning shots to the current government of Kenya Kwanza to not demolish the households or to demolish the houses of those people who are in the lowland areas before giving them, of course, alternatives on what they can pursue as they move to higher grounds to avoid the effects of this massive flooding, flash floods and landslides that are happening as a result of that heavy rainfall. But before I get into that, again, let's put all the bad news out of the way first. Investigations into allegations of embezzlement by the former cabinet secretary in the Ministry of Treasury, CS Ukur Yatani, are continuing, and here EACC has impounded cash that is worth 62.1 million Kenyan shillings. There were pieces, 4,600 pieces of $100 denominations, which were found at a household of one who is suspected to be a relative of CS Ukur Yatani, or former CS Ukur Yatani. And this is just part of the amount of money which EACC is putting it at around 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings, which is money that was lost between 2013 and 2024, and most of it during the tenure of CS Ukur Yatani as the governor of Marsabit County. So that continues into the CS, the former CS of the Ministry of Treasury, the man who takes care of the money of the Republic. I wonder how that happened, given that he's the one supposed to take care of all that amount of cash. We decry a lot in terms of public deficits, in terms of the amount of money that we're borrowing outside, in terms of the amount of money that we need to be giving out to the doctors who are now on over 50 days of strike. But there's not enough for them, but there's enough for embezzlement. We'll be looking at what EACC finds out of these investigations. Yesterday, as well, President William Samoei Ruto visited Mathare slums, where he gave out, of course, the promises the government is doing and what they're doing in terms of supporting all those families which are affected. Businesses have come to a standstill. Families have lost their loved ones. Some are missing and yet to be found. Their houses have been swept away by floods, and the government is trying to offer support. 1 billion Kenyan shillings has been promised towards the rehabilitation of schools which are affected by these floods. Around 60 schools nationwide have decried have reported floods and sunken toilets, and this 1 billion Kenyan shillings is supposed to be used towards the rehabilitations of those facilities, as they are now out of school due to that break that President William Ruto gave indefinitely in the resumption of the second term as we await to see what is the direction of this heavy rainfall that we're expecting. Further, food assistance is to be availed to all those families affected countrywide from the Ministry of Agriculture in its stores. In its stores, food will be available to anyone who walks in there, of course, to say they have been affected. There's 10,000 Kenyan shillings which have been given to those 40,000 families affected in Nairobi to find accommodation in the meantime, as the government seeks to provide for them 3 months worth of rent into the future as they figure out the next steps after being affected, of course, again by those floods. We'll be looking at more of these efforts even as the government continues to do so in the next few days, and the Kenya Met Department warns that we're expecting more rainfall to persist into May before it subsides into the last parts of the month. So ensure that you're staying safe, you're moving out of those regions which have been marked as ecosystem which are fragile and likely to be prone to flooding, landslides, and any other thing coming out of this rainfall. So rains are expected to continue into May as we ask, where is the 10 billion Kenyan shillings that was set aside for El Nino preparedness and disaster management across all the counties? In the meantime, doctors are still on strike. We are going to be looking at all these issues and tabling them here in a panel discussion with Nick Mwadime Mwangi, and that is the National Executive Director of the Mount Kenya Universities and College Students Association. He'll be joined here once more by a guest, or for the first time, President of the Student Union at Kabete National Polytechnic, Samuel Karanja. They'll be here to have a look at all those issues that I've pointed out and much more, including how much money will it take you to shut up for good when you're in deep trouble. It seems that there's not much fines that you can place on one man, former president of the United States, President Donald Trump, who's now facing a very serious case currently happening in New York, where he's being charged and being investigated into hush money that was paid to a porn star in 2006. And this has brought a very heated debate in the United States ahead of the presidential elections. He's been so far fined $10,000 in terms of gag orders that have been placed against him from making comments against the judges, the jury, and anyone else involved in the case. However, it seems that these fines are too little for a wealthy man of the stature of Donald Trump, and the judges are now left in a very difficult situation, because the more they are placing these fines on Donald Trump, the more he pays them and the more he continues to give out statements on his Truth Social platform. One of those things he says is that the jury and the bench of judges is composed of 95% Democrats. Now, the judges are saying if he continues with his statements, there is going to be, of course, consequences in terms of jail order placed upon him. However, this is a tricky scenario given he is a front-running presidential candidate for the Republican Party, which is a huge statement to make. We'll be following up on that, and of course to hear a lot on what is happening and developing in terms of elections in that side of the world. Across the continent, in Africa, elections, of course, also happening this year in Uganda, in Rwanda, in South Africa. We'll also be giving you those updates as we go on with the show. A conversation that is happening here this morning in terms of business. This being Biashara Tuesday, we're having a look at matters of the supply chain management, procurement, and as well as contracts. I have here with me an expert this in business management as well. Dr. George Muturi Wanjobi is a lecturer and CPA. We'll be looking at procurement and strategic management. Some of those questions that I have here on the show. And as a small business that is out there, a youth-led business, if you have questions on that regard, this is going to be a time for you to send them through. What advice would you like in terms of looking to improve your procurement process? How can you better prepare yourself for those unexpected turn of events which affect the global supply chain management, which I'm sure now with a global nation in terms of business, e-commerce and whatnot, how can you prepare yourself and how can you plug yourself to ensure that you are benefiting from that global supply chain, as well as strategic management. As a strategic manager himself, he let us know of some of the tips that you can borrow from him to run your business. So all those are relevant conversations for here this morning. The hashtag you can use, hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Tag me at Richard_OKENYE. We're going to have a look at what is happening on the roads, and then I come back with Dr. George to kick us off on those business conversations. All the way to 10 a.m. Let's have fun. Welcome to the show. Okay, I think the biggest traffic updates you need this morning, first of all, of course, is from the Kenya Met Department, so that you're ready for rainfall wherever you're going to. And then we can have a look at what kind of roads are blocked this morning, why you should stay vigilant, and also alternative routes that you can use in case the ones that you normally used to as you go to work are flooded and therefore dangerous for you to use. First things first. Here, the Kenya Met Department on its memo on the 2nd of May 2024, they're saying that heavy rainfall of more than 40 millimeters in 24 hours is expected in several parts of Lake Victoria Basin, the Rift Valley, highlands of West and Rift Valley, including Nairobi area and southern East Lowlands, continuing from Thursday, 2nd to 5th of May, which was yesterday, and then to continue throughout this week all the way from 3rd to 6th May, and then from 2nd to 6th May, especially in the Indian Ocean. The coastal region is the one that is likely to be affected the most this week. Areas of concern: Rift Valley region, Nairobi area, and the coastal region. Kajiado as well, Turkana and Samburu up to midweek. Areas of strong concern when it comes to wind is Mombasa, Tana River, Kilifi, Lamu. Areas of concern when it comes to large waves is the Indian Oceans. Instructions here are given that people in the mentioned areas should be on the lookout for potential floods, flash floods, and poor visibility. Water levels are likely to rise again in rivers, lakes, and dams. And here, this message is addressed to all the Kenyans. Ensure that you are staying safe wherever you're at. The death toll is currently at above 200 Kenyans who have lost their lives so far. We're hoping we lose no further as we mitigate the effects of this crisis that we find ourselves in terms of the El Nino. Now, Mathri Route is giving me information on current transport and traffic conditions in the city and its environment, and as well as what you are tweeting out. Eric Ogendi anasema rains arrive in tons at the coast. Warm ocean temperatures and onshore winds make it rain. Maximum caution to flooded roads. Don't cross topped up bridges. Yani ukiona maji umefika hapo juu kwa bridge, avoid those routes. A bright new day. Mathri Route road safety starts with you. Be courteous and respect all other road users. Today the rains have subsided on the sides of Mala. The roads are clear. The roads are still wet though. Drive safely. There's no water at Joska Market. Some traders have opened their shop, though this is a good relief. There's no water from the rainfall that is affecting Joska Market. Therefore, business is slowly returning on those sides. Visible potholes on the roads, the aftermath of the floods. We are hoping that you are aware of that as you go out. Road safety for all road users. I have here an image from Joska Bridge where the water level has gone down significantly, and therefore you can use that bridge this morning in case you have no other route. Greater Western traffic update. There's traffic disruption along the Homa Bay Mbita Road due to floods. You're advised to use the Homa Bay Luanda Mbita Sindo route. Watantoka Homa Bay kama kunao kwa show, avoid the Homa Bay Mbita Road. Kangundo Road hapo Komarok, just opposite to the Total petrol station, imefungika hapo. Half the road is gone, avoid it. Kangundo Road hapo Komarok, just opposite the Total petrol station. So watu wanaelekea Saika, Kamulu, beware of what is happening at Komarok along Kangundo Road. More updates here. Expressway, shida za kitajiri ni shida za maskini pia. We're having the same issues up as we're having the same issues below. It's flooded still. May the management of Expressway attend to that. Moja Expressway. If you can avoid Mombasa Road, Mlolongo to Nairobi CBD, avoid it at all costs. It's packed sana. Sand harvesting along Kenol Sagana Highway should be stopped. Already the road is partially destroyed and the act is maliciously damaging the road. What is happening on Limuru Road? Traffic is terrible. That's the response from Limuru Road. If you're in Mombasa Road heading to town, use the expressway please. Hapo chini ni kubaya, but pia huko juu wanasema sio kuzuri sana, and therefore find other alternative routes and let us know. Last one here is on Thika Road. Heavy traffic along Thika Road outbound at Allsops and Kasarani due to an accident. You're advised to use alternative routes or plan for travel delays. Thika Road, Mombasa Road. Kiambu Road, I have not seen any update here. I've seen Kangundo Road and as well as Limuru Road. The Expressway, Enterprise Road is okay here so far. Expressway outbound totally jammed and backed up. Nairobi Langata, alafu pia Homa Bay tumeambiwa kunaelekeaje huko. Anyone else, please continue giving us those updates. We'll be with them all through the show. Now, going to take a breather and then I'm coming back with Dr. George to have a look at strategic management, procurement, how to get effective contracts, the supply chain. I have a lot that I have prepared here for this discussion, including the trends that you're seeing likely to shape the future of supply chain management, as well as how to prepare for potential disruption, such as now with the massive floods. What do you do when your goods are coming out of Kisumu and you're waiting for them in Nairobi? Do you buy a boat, a canoe? What do you do? Let us know any questions that you have on social platforms. I'll be back with that conversation. Biashara Tuesday still on air. Don't go too far.
Kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pass vuguvugu. People pass ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa. Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni dunia ni leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Get ready to kickstart your day with the most exciting morning show around. Tune in to our dynamic and entertaining program where we keep you informed, engaged, and entertained from the moment you wake up.
From breaking news and current events to music, fun, and out of the ordinary stories, we've got you covered with a mix of interviews, games, and special segments. You never know what's in store.
Join us every Monday morning
and Tuesday morning
for a fun and fascinating way to start your day.
Don't miss out on the action.
Tune in now and experience the excitement for yourself.
Only on KUTV Rise Today from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Start your day
with us. Biashara Tuesday is back on air. We're just having a small conversation here on the sidelines with my guest of the day. Our guest of the day here this morning is George Muturi Wanjobi, a doctor of philosophy in business administration and management, specializing in matters of strategic management. This morning, we are having a look at how Kenyan businesses can think around the supply chain, strategic management, because he's an expert in that as well, and also some of the biggest trends we can have a look at in preparation for the future of supply chain management and potential disruption in the global supply chain. But that might sound so technical at the very beginning. We are going to break it down in how relevant relevant that is for you in the Kenyan context, yeah? Advice to Kenyan businesses on how to navigate the sector in which they exist in. Before I preempt all I have prepared for that conversation, let me allow Dr. George to introduce himself. Atuambie what he's up to, how he's faring on with the flooding situation in the Republic, heavy rainfalls and whatnot, what strategic management he has done on himself. And then we get to business. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I once more reiterate my thanks for being on this show, KUTV. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm Dr.
Yes, please.
I'm Dr. George Wanjobi.
Yes.
With a training bias in a scholar with a special interest in special bias in procurement and supply chain and strategic management. My undergraduate is in procurement and supply chain. My master's degree is in procurement and contract management, and a PhD in strategic management. I've practiced. I'm a practitioner. I'm a scholar because I've taught in a number of universities locally at Jomo Kenyatta University. I still work for Mount Kenya University, and above all, universities in the Horn of Africa, especially in Somaliland, Djibouti, and the countries revolving around the Horn of Africa. I'm happy and pleased to be on the show.
All right. So we're here with a teacher at the very base, yeah? And then Mwalimu University. Of course, we're here to learn from you in matters of business. I know supply chain is something many businesses know what that is, because it's supply and it's a chain. Then maybe we could expand a bit on procurement and strategic management.
Amazing.
And then get to know how this is relevant for the Kenyan businesses.
Good.
Yeah.
Leveraging on procurement and strategic management, the two disciplines are intertwined.
Okay.
Because supply chain will drive the aspect of consumerism. That's why you have what you have on the table as you speak now. Let's say a cup of tea. It has gone through a chain from the point of production, processing, manufacturing, distribution, to the point of you purchasing and getting it onto the table. Supply chain seems to be a difficult word, but it's a practice that has existed. Let's say 3000 BC, from the point of construction of the pyramids, Industrial Revolution, and even onto the 20th and 21st century. We practice supply chain on a daily basis in our individual aspects. It's just that it's not coded as a practice. We have greatly evolved as a country, and businesses have been forced to conform into this side or onto that discipline of supply chain and procurement. And strategic management, it's all about all aspects of managing the business to be thriving, going concerns. And apart from being thriving, going for concerns, for them to be on the line for the purposes of prosperity and posterity. Because we have to run the businesses in a manner that they spell posterity and prosperity.
All right.
Amazing.
I love that you've mentioned, a little bit of history there, from the pyramids to the Industrial Revolution. I remember even before that, there was the Silk Road, even in West Africa, salt and all of that. What is different with the supply chain of that time and currently as we are? Yeah.
The supply chain of then was not well organized and it was not well spelt. The supply chain of now, it's very well organized in order to fit into the global aspect. So that's why we get things from all over. You can order something from Europe and you get it in 2 days.
Yeah.
So the supply chain of now has just been fixated to an orderly format, a format that flows. It's guided by laws, because the previous one was just guided by circulars. If you look at the Kenya evolution of, let's say, Kenyan setup of procurement, it was guided by circulars. Procurement was not a department. It was a practice and it was a branch of practice and accounting. But now it's a standalone practice.
Yes.
And you find now that as we, let me speak from the point of governance. From the point of governance, you'll get to learn that from a governance system, governance is a key word. But for us to offer service delivery to our citizens, to the 50 million citizens, supply chain must be involved. This one will involve the aspects of procurement. Procurement, the government is the biggest spender. For example, in Kenya, it's the biggest spender. So the procurement of then wasn't organized to a point that it guaranteed, number one, promotion of local contractors. Right now, it's there. The AGPO, the access to procurement activities, which is the other one. Exploitation of local resources, that was not there. It was not crystallized into a tailing law. You understand?
Okay.
It limited competition, but now we've got equal chances. It spells affirmative action. That's why you've got affirmative action for the youth, for the women, and for the persons with disability. The training itself was not crystallized. The training itself.
Okay.
But now we've got a training that is crystallized from a certificate level to.
There's a solid structure to
yes,
all the way
to a postgraduate level.
Okay.
Not even the postgraduate to a postdoctoral level. Then you come to the other essence that there was no professionalism. Right now, professionalism is there, locally one, guided by the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management. It was not there, it never existed.
Yeah.
The values and the ethos were not spoken of. Right now, the values under Article 10 of the Constitution are very well spoken of. The ethical conduct was not well spoken of. And even when we speak about the consequences for any maldoing or for any negation of the law, because now our procurement law is very spelling.
Okay.
From the time that it was first enacted till the time that we got the revised edition of 2022, it was not oversighted. Right now, it's very much oversighted and it's very much regulated.
Right. I'm having questions stream in from people who have questions regarding their businesses and also trending conversations when it comes to that. So I think we'll just attack them as we go,
we'll dive into them.
Ensure that
we'll
we have a very wholesome conversation. So let me begin with Nakumatt.
Yes, Nakumatt, the retail chain.
Nakumatt and the likes. What is happening with that retail chain? Why does it keep collapsing? If we have laws, as you've said, we've revised them, we've amended, we have a solid structure in terms of training. Is it that we are not taking care of the most important people in the supply chain, or where is it failing? Because we find that every other time there's a new player in that sector and a fail after 3 years.
Yeah.
What happens?
Retail chains happen to be one amongst the biggest drivers of the supply chain.
Okay.
Because each and every common mwananchi, the common wanjiku, gets to pick a broken piece. Because you see, we break the bulk. From breaking the bulk, that's how you can access a small unit of 500 grams, that grammage. Now, my view about the retail chain, because I've practiced in the retail chain for quite a number of times. My view, and this is my considered view of what leads to the failure of the retail chain, is the retail chains failing to adhere to the best practices.
Okay.
Majority of the retail chains don't adhere to the best practices.
Is that deliberate?
Deliberate because they do that in order to keep pushing their business.
Okay.
I'll not mention them.
Yeah.
But once you read the reasons that led to the befalling of these retail chains, especially the biggest ones that fail in Kenya, you learn that, number one, there were aspects of money laundering, tax evasion. So when they fail to do business in accordance with the strict adherence of the paper, these will one day catch up with them, because they fail to do that for a short-term gain. For short-term gains, they achieve the short-term gains, but now they lead to failing later. Another aspect is this: there are so many people with there are so many people who use these chains to cover up their money. You understand?
Yeah.
Once they withdraw their capitation from the business, the businesses just collapses.
Okay.
It cannot sustain, it can't hold the water. Yes. So I've said that in the very withdrawn manner. But read about it in a large scale,
of course,
large aspects. You learn about the banks that were involved and the players that were involved, and the detriment effects that went to the workers, to the suppliers, because suppliers were very much affected, and a ripple effect of many things that did follow up.
Okay, so that's for a formalized sector, and I think that's clear up to that level. Of course, pending further studies into exactly what happened to the specific brands. When it comes to the informal sector and the supply chain, you realize we try to balance efficiency with supporting local communities. So it's kind of not well organized. Well, from my point of view, you can let me know further. For example, if you're talking Jua Kali, how they source their material. If you're talking, recycling, there is few structures in place. What kind of advice could you give there in terms of trying to navigate that informal sector to create a supply chain that works for them as well?
Well, I would number one, credit the people involved in the informal sector.
Okay.
Because the people involved in the informal sector are the biggest drivers. Because they form, let's say, 40% of driving the economy. And in my view, it's not that these people are not organized. It's just that they have not conceptualized what they do onto a fixed script.
Okay.
A fixed SOP, standard operating procedure. It's just that they lack that link. The link between what they're doing. Let me give a scenario. A person running a kibanda business. This person will wake up in the morning, get to pick some few supplies. Let's say it's milk, food stuff, and everything. This person will do the business in a brick and mortar way.
Yeah.
Very basic, just like running a household. But now, this person hasn't crystallized his operations. So number one, I would plead with the people in the informal sector. Number one, to crystallize your operations. Mark everything that you do. Attach the costs. You understand? Because you see, in a formal organization, let's say like Kenyatta University, you attach even the ETR for a fueling when you fuel your car.
Yeah.
You attach even that ETR. Even when you have lunch, you attach that ETR.
Even a short border ride.
Even a short border ride.
Yes.
You have to really account for it. So now, the weakest link between, in fact, you have brought the sense, the weakest link between progression and driving concerns of brick and mortar businesses and businesses in the informal sector. Because once you look at the businesses in the informal sector, they have got a lot of money. Look at the people selling, let's say, seats and sofa sets along Ngong Road.
Yeah.
Along Jogoo Road. A piece of sofa set will cost around 110,000. That's close to $980. That's for just one piece. So if you can run a business whereby you are dealing with $980 or $1,000 for a sofa set, you understand? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But these people do that also for deliberate interest. Number one, they don't want to pay taxes. Because right now we have hammered a person like you who is in the formal sector on a structured payroll. That your pay slip is hammered from the top. Businesses that are registered, they are hammered from the top.
Okay.
So they do that with deliberate interest. Once you look at the businesses in Gikomba, once you hear that a fire has stricken them, you'll get to hear the losses that they account for, and their losses accounting to millions. The people involved in the workshops, the Tiba business and everything. Let's say in Gikomba.
Yeah.
So once these people also do that for that deliberate interest, because they don't want to be brought to the tax table.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
They just pay the license thing, but they are not formally onto the tax table.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's a loophole.
It's a loophole.
Okay.
I think the government should exploit that loophole so that every citizen can be brought to the tax basket.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have a bigger tax base there.
So that we can get a bigger tax base.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I think you've brought up very key points there in terms of crystallizing that supply chain. And I had asked something earlier on in my question, which is, who is the most important player in the supply chain? As a business person, who should I take care of the most?
Well, in all facets, everyone plays a very pivotal role in the supply chain.
Okay.
Everyone is an integral player.
None less than the other.
None can be withdrawn.
Okay.
Whether from the point of production, I would just say the person that we should really try to get rid of, number one, it's a broker.
Get rid of? Okay. Yeah.
It's a broker.
Okay.
Let the business be pegged onto the practice of a willing buyer, willing seller, with hard work, let's say, along the chain, because it's a chain, from the point of production. And remember, it will not even start from the point of production. It will begin from the point of mental cognizance that we need this thing in the market. Let's say it's a maize planting season. That cognizance, we have to till our land, blah, 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 and go through that chain. Then these people will come and spoil the chain here. We should look for a way, number one, to get rid of, number one, tenderpreneurs. That's why you see, let's say in government, that line, canvassing will lead to immediate disqualification. So once we get rid of the tenderpreneur and the brokers, because brokers have got knowledge, they are just looking like this, and they play with the voids that are there and make a kill, a bigger kill than these people that were involved in the real market.
True, and it's affecting, especially in where matters of agricultural produce are concerned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So getting rid of the middleman, that's the only person we don't need in that chain.
Yes. Okay. But we need the person to do the production, the person to do the processing, the manufacturing, the holding, the distribution, the consumer. Because even once the thing gets to the consumer, it must be of quality and healthy standard.
Okay.
So we cannot mess up with any process from the point of inception to the point of consumption.
Okay.
We can't mess up with anything.
All right. Are there resources that can help me improve and make that process efficient?
Yeah, resources are there. Resources are about to be there. In which sense? One must understand the field that he or she is practicing in. With that, upon understanding the process, the premise that you are practicing in, you have to inculcate a lot of hard work and grow rich knowledge in that specific tailor-made knowledge in that specific area of practice.
Okay.
Yeah, that one must be there. Because now these practices will vary. Because now the practice of a mechanic, let's speak in the informal sector, will be a bit different from the person from a carpenter. But remember, they have got apex interests at the top, whereby they need profit. Both of them need profit.
Yeah.
You understand? They need driving going concerns of their business. Driving going concern in a manner that the business will spell posterity and prosperity. Yeah. So that we can have businesses that run generations and centuries.
Yes, and still prosper.
Prosper.
Okay.
Because prosperity is key.
Yes, for sure. Now, when we are taking a look at a global context, as you said, now we are in a different era where the supply chain is being, fixed to fit the times that we exist in. We have things that I talk about here on the show, such as the African Continental Free Trade area, free trade area, which will shift, I think, that supply chain. How can we still support local suppliers while adapting to those kind of changes? Because we need, of course, we need imports, we need to expand our chains, we need to expand our procurement sources and all of that, but still we need to support our local.
Yep, I agree with you onto that, because number one, we have to support our local. And number two, Africa must advocate for themselves to be the biggest drivers of trade amongst themselves. And I'm very happy that Museveni is very vocal about that one. On having common market protocols, how we get rid of trade barriers, such as there is a word. I'm forgetting the word.
That's trade barriers.
No, the word is not the tariff and the non-tariff. The tariffs and the non-tariff barriers.
Okay.
And promote these essence whereby we ease movements of people and ease movements of goods. Now, with that, let me speak of something about the technology that has been involved. Blockchain technology and AI has really spiced up the attribute of doing business. So once we leverage onto tech, that's number one. We leverage onto ease of moving goods, so that with that we promote the now doing business with a country like Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country of 100 million people. You understand? So once as countries harmonize our diplomatic calling and become one, we'll expand the market and we'll have a larger returns.
Yeah.
We'll have larger returns as a country and a larger market for us. Remember, we have got a very funny story in Africa, whereby some people that do the cocoa plants in Ghana, they have never accessed the benefits of cocoa. You understand?
Yes.
The coffee farmer, let's say in Kiangombe.
In Kenya even. Yes.
In Kiangombe, in Kirugoya.
Yeah.
The coffee farmer in Kiangombe, in Kirugoya has never had a cup of tea. This person has a coffee stem, but
has never had a cup of coffee.
But this person has never had a cup of coffee. Because a cup of coffee, it's consumed somewhere along Kemadi Street and Moi Avenue. He has never had that privilege. He has never had the privilege of how a brewed substance tastes like. So we must bring this rich tapestry of the African culture by opening the market space, by looking at the barriers, number one, the diplomatic calling and the ease of movement of people, and promotion of peace for prosperity. Because there must be peace for us to do business.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. I have something here from Museveni, who you gave a shout out. For the first time, we are commending Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, who actually is one of the people who've done away with the middleman.
Yes.
So last year, he made a decision to stop purchasing petroleum from Kenya because there are middlemen operating in there and inflating the bills.
I agree
So
with
that is the play, as you had, of course, rightfully mentioned there, that we should be doing away with.
Yes.
And of course, expanding our market, African free trade area, a bigger market, which means you're, even as a producer, you have more people to sell to, not necessarily competition from outside coming in. I think that's a good way to look at it. Now, there's disruptions, even as we talk about this. Currently, we have heavy rainfalls in Kenya. Infrastructure development needs are very important in the supply chain management. How can we face these challenges and still continue with business at the same time?
Good, thank you. On to that aspect, I'll say something. Procurement and supply chain practitioners and even business owners, because everyone is a driver, same as to you. You are a driver of the supply chain because you left your house in the morning and you are here at a cost. So we have to get to be ahead of times. That is the one that is key. We have to be ahead of times, and we have to be very, very prudent in anticipating. We have to be very prudent when it comes to anticipating. At times, we fail in our anticipations because none thought that COVID would be COVID with large impacts as the way it was. But number one, let's leverage on technology, prudence in anticipation, be it political, be it social interest, be it economic interest. Well, prudent even in anticipating the natural causes. Because you've got the weather forecast. Because once you look at the Kenyan government, how the Kenyan government runs, we've got people mandated to look at these issues of the natural disasters and these issues of, let's say, forecast of the weather and everything that connotes the weather and the natural well-being of the ecosystem. With that now, we as consumers and we as practitioners and even every driver as an agent of the supply chain, the only suspect that we can really support them is by going green. So that now we can tend to reduce these devastating effects so that each and every person can articulate his role in diminishing and mitigating these devastating effects.
Sustainability is also a thing to think about.
Because we have to be sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be useful.
We have to be sustainable.
All right. You've mentioned technology, leveraging AI, blockchain at the moment. How do you see this trend affecting the future?
Yep. Well, these trends are affecting the future because once you look, let's say, sometimes prior to 2015 or prior to 2013, a taxi to the airport was a big man's deal. Adults must converge in order to get a taxi.
Get into a taxi, yes.
But you see nowadays how accessing a taxi is easy.
I just pick up my phone right now and we have a taxi out here.
A taxi outside here. Accessing a meal, it was quite challenging. So right now you can order meals from your house. We'll begin from the very, 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 very minor aspects. Let's pick something like Facebook or WhatsApp. WhatsApp it's a very big driver of trade. Because each and everyone posts on the WhatsApp status what he or she is dealing with.
Right.
So technology will be a very big driver of supply chain in these aspects. If you look at something very simple, I'll give very simple scenarios that are happening in the country. Technology has really helped in doing away with the middleman. That's what we were saying.
Yes.
Look at these Kai and Karo, the ones that do cars. You can now sell a second-hand car, a local used car, or purchase a local used car from abroad with your Visa card.
Yes.
You understand? So technology, we can't divorce technology. We have to embrace technology to boost the quality, number one, of accessing goods from reputable sources, goods that from agents that you can trust. Because you see, the seller is the agent. He's a link between your money and the product. Somewhere you can track. So we can't divorce technology. We can only keep on investing and inculcating technology to our levels of business.
Okay.
That's why each and every business like now accepts money payments via M-Pesa.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So with that, I mean this. We cannot divorce technology. We can only embrace technology with the levels that our businesses needs. Because we cannot tell, let's say, a small hotel, to own a system like the one that is controlled by the government of IFMIS. You understand?
Okay.
But this person can come and pick a unit that works for his functional daily running of the business with eyes ahead, with the interest of progression, so that he can keep investing onto that day by day. Let's assume it's a kibanda or a small bar. Today, he's selling in a brick and mortar way. Tomorrow, in the next 2 years, 3 years, he has got a point of sale. You understand? So that he can manage and monetize his inventory. You understand?
Yeah.
That is it.
Okay, to improve that efficiency.
To boost onto the efficiency and to boost quality in consumerism. Yes.
I like that, because you mentioned earlier as well that it's good to know the premise of where you are operating in, and therefore usipeleke QR code Kenyatta Market for people to scan. Chapo beans. There's need to
but
also understand
as we progress,
you need to
we'll get there.
Yes.
As we progress, let's say in 10 years time, you'll have the comfort of purchasing thing with your Visa card. In Kenyatta Market,
even
in 10 years time.
Yes.
Yes, it will come.
Yeah, for sure.
It will come.
There's always jitters when it comes to technology. And as we are now, so many jitters across very many fields with regards to artificial intelligence. And when we speak efficiency and cutting out the middleman, there are others who aren't middlemen, who are like, kama you're ordering direct, it means, mimi hapa katikati, what's going to happen to me? I'm a procurement personnel, I'm a procurement professional, and you want to order stuff from the US direct to Ruiru at your doorstep. What happens to my job? What should we tell them?
Well, I believe in this thing. Once we cut out this middleman, or once we cut out in any practice, not only supply chain practice, be it in medical practice, be it in media, be it in any practice. Once we inculcate something new, it brings more than 10,000 opportunities. Fight for those new opportunities brought by this new game changer, new forte. So you have to look for a way to affix yourself into the new forte, but don't fight the forte.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Adapt with it.
You have to adapt.
One thing they're saying is that you will not be replaced. It's the people who are using it well.
So you have to get yourself into that space. Remember, there was a time in Kenya we had just one media station. But now we don't even know the number. There are so many to a point that we've got the CA controlling. And each and every media station has got its viewers, has got their adverts. You understand? So in that case, each and everyone will have a space and role to play. You just need to seek for a void and affix yourself into a legal, noble, moral void and make your money.
Legal, noble, and moral.
Yep.
Yes, and make your money. Don't do money laundering as you're trying to make that efficient. Now, we've spoken, of course, how to leverage innovation, technology, the challenges that businesses are facing as well in terms of operating that, of operating in such disruptions such as we are facing. Anticipate, plan ahead. Look at what the Kenya Met is doing in terms of natural disasters.
And they should promote more advocacy.
Yeah.
So
advocacy in terms of
climate change.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, they're just silent. Yes. We never anticipated floods to this extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Small businesses say though that they are not key players in the effects of climate change. That maybe Villarosa is giving out more waste as compared to me. Should I also think about sustainability? And I'm just a small kibandaski.
Yep, in very simple ways. Very simple ways. If it's a kibandaski, very simple ways. Just unlock the tunnel that is next to you and the business owners around that, so that at least you'll not be swept by floods. You'll not endure the devastating effects of the climate change. Promote peace. Go green in that zone. That's why Rwanda is so neat. You walk in Rwanda and you feel fresh.
Yeah.
You can feel that aura of freshness in Rwanda. Let's say in which is this place?
A comparison.
A small comparison. a small comparison. If you compare the industrial area, it's a bit more noble because let's say in Kenya, our industry area, it's a point of contempt, it's a point just of working, getting tired, to a point whereby people die.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You can feel the freshness in their place. Let's say in the which is this place that I don't like? In the Jogo Road. You'll feel fresh. In the Githurai. You can feel a lot of freshness by supporting, number one, what is ethical, what is humane, of humane standard, and going green. Embracing solar energy, having solar lights, trees, clean air, fresh air, and promoting peace, prosperity and prosperity within themselves.
Okay. There's a lot of contracts, and I had a question from one person, and I operate a mandazi selling business. It's called Josiah Nefat. Anasema, what about contracts? So it seems that there's a lot of contracts that happen in between, of course, in that chain from the producer to the supplier.
To the point of the consumer.
To the point of consumer, yeah? So how do we...
And even in delivery of service, public service goods. Because you see, like now, the government purchases for the public good.
Yes, and there's contract signing, a lot of it happening there. Risk mitigation, let's talk about it when it comes to contract. How do you how do you negotiate the most effective contracts? If you ask the suppliers of the chains that you didn't want to mention, they'll tell you they were cheated out of some of those contracts. Some are actually ongoing court cases where you said this, you didn't deliver this.
And huge losses.
Yeah, how do we negotiate effective contracts, steering clear of risk? Well, you can't steer clear of risk, I guess, but try to mitigate risk.
It's very complex, and it's a very complex question. We have to agree on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it calls for intricate details. Number one, for the public good and for the person doing, let's begin from the point of doing informal business. What is called for so much is sensitization. There has been very little advocacy. It's something that I've noted. There has been very little advocacy and very little awareness creation on how small businesses should enter into contracts. That's why you find that many suppliers are crying out of pending bills. Many of them have been auctioned out of the pending bills with the various county governments. You understand that each and every county government, you have seen the number of pending bills, you understand? And many of them have been inflated. You remember the NYS and blah, 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 blah. Many people who missed on their payments. So number one, what I would call for and what I would challenge fellow practitioners, scholars, and people with a keen interest, even businessmen, it's number one, to have a conversation about advocacy on contracts. Be it as simple as they are. That's why you'll find that in many businesses, they don't like contracts. They like leta pesa yangu.
Mimi nikupatie shughuli yako.
You understand, eh? But a number of businesses go the contract way because the benefit that is attached. But now sustaining it becomes a challenge. You understand? So you're on a loan, on a top-up loan, on a letter of credit. Then we get a scenario whereby last year we had what were they called? The county billionaires.
The COVID billionaires?
County.
Oh, they were county billionaires.
These county billionaires who hadn't been paid, but they have got millions.
Oh, okay, yes.
They are owed millions by the county governments.
Yes.
So, number one, what I would say, it's advocacy on the best way. And number two, advocacy on upholding best practices. Number three, there is something that we need to check on so that we cushion our businesses, especially the businesses that are dealing with the government. The Procurement Act, it's a bit lenient when it comes to the penalties of delayed payments. Because now you see when every governor comes in, he has to do an audit. You understand? You has to do an audit of the pending bills. So some of the genuine suppliers are struck out. Some of the suppliers who did supply genuinely are told, give us a cut so that we can
give you
we can pay you.
We owe you, yes.
So that we can give you what we pay you. And many people fall for that trap. So we should also, I would challenge our parliamentarians, also the legislature arm of the government, with goodwill from the people involved in governance, that we repeal even the professional bodies, these are, it calls for concerted efforts from the Institute of Economic Affairs, procurement practitioners, public accountants, so that we can find a middle ground to save the local man and the person doing the brick and mortar business at the base, to save the base business model at the base.
Okay.
And as we save the base, we also save the top tier business.
Okay.
Yes.
They're asking for a small business, and then should I draft a small paper for every contract I get into, even if it's handwritten? Does that count as a contract?
It counts.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, a contract is just a legal binding document between two more parties.
Yeah.
So it counts.
Okay.
And you should have that one.
You should have it as
especially when pending payment is involved, when credit is involved.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have that one.
So mtu akikwambia kuletea one sack of potatoes, write something down, and then sign up, and then.
Well, it might not spell onto any business, onto every business. That will be a lie. It might not spell onto every business.
Okay.
But goodwill is a key factor. And remember, you cannot inculcate the sense of goodwill onto everyone. Remember, there are so many people that we live with our cars. These parking lots in town, whereby we leave them even with our car keys, and go. You leave without a paper. You go to a garage.
And you leave your keys there, everything,
you go to a garage
laptop in the bag.
The mechanic tells you, you have to wait for 3 days for the car to be done. You understand?
You leave them the key.
And you leave them with the key. You've left them with nothing. No paper that you've left them with.
Yeah.
You've just
they
walked
signed
out.
Anything.
You understand?
Yeah.
To those high degree levels, to those let me not call them high level, but goodwill is a key factor.
Yes.
You leave your car with someone, a car worth 3 million. Because of what?
Because of
goodwill is a factor.
Yes.
That you have left this car with someone. Remember, once this car vanishes,
goodwill is not a legal requirement.
Goodwill is not a legal requirement.
Yes.
So, as players in the supply chain sector, goodwill is contributing to the ethics, to the good ethics, is good in doing business. But now, when it comes to transactions, ensure that
you have
you document them.
A documented contract.
You document them.
Okay.
Not contracts only, but even the transactions.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Sure. So that you get to account for your business.
Documentation is everything there.
Yes.
Nice. So with limited resources, as we wind up here, question for smaller and medium-sized enterprises in Kenya: how can they practice or have to implement strategic management practices in a way that still can save them money, that isn't so expensive?
Good.
Because once we have these discussions, mtu anafikiria, so now I need to sit down, evaluate who is where, research on who's the best source, do all that bookwork, who's going to sponsor that, how can we do it in the best way?
Okay, when it comes to that, aspects of strategic management are involved in our daily lives. That's why you manage yourself as you cross the road. That's why you lock yourself. You lock for your house, and it's your house. Now, when it comes to businesses, strategic management has to be upheld for the businesses to remain competitive, for the businesses to keep to sustain their calling. You understand? Because businesses are called to various calling: kibandaski, mama mboga, boda boda rider, is just to give efficiencies in mobility. So in that sense, I mean, businesses have to, number one, engage strategic management for their competitive edge. That's number one. Number two, for their sustainability model. Number three, for their progression. Number four, for anticipation and the mitigation of risks and losses. So strategic management, I'm sure each and every businessman practices strategic management informally. It's just that it's not on paper.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you should just keep on building onto it.
On what they already are.
What you are doing, keep on building onto it, because Rome was not done in a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. George, for that feedback, and of course for the discussion that we've had here so far, answering some of the questions. I see here Ashley saying, morning OKENYE, having breakfast as I enjoy the conversation on Biashara Tuesday at the comfort of our home, tuned in till the last minute. Hauna hauna tashwishi yoyote kwenye supply chain management as such ambayo ungeuliza, but asante sana for tuning in. Predictions into the future in terms of supply chain management that you can give in as we see other comments also from Elsa.
Well, predictions into the future, tech will be a big player. Number 2, when it comes to practitioners, a lot of regulations are, even businesses, a lot of regulations are coming up. Number 3, with the 80% of the population being less than below 35 years, we expect to see a lot of business revolutionary in how business will be done, even in order to accommodate the most vibrant generation that will be the Gen Z and the following up Gen Alpha. There will be a lot of revolutionary. Number 4, I expect a lot of customer delight mechanisms. They'll come because each and every one gives ratings, and each and everyone gives recommendation. Recommendation will be the biggest set of marketing. And a customer who is aware, and a consumer who is aware. That one is coming also, because you see nowadays we are not even much more reliant onto KEBS. We've got our own individual ways of
measuring the standards. Look at it. We'll have all the players, let's say, will get away to be doing the genuine things. If it's a genuine laptop like this one, you'll be scanning the QR code and you'll see it from the point of the manufacturer. So a lot of tech-enabled, customer aware and a sensitized customer are coming up. And I would plead with, number 1, the regulators to be friendly. Number 2, the practitioners and the biggest spenders, and of course the biggest spender is the government, to look for a way to accommodate the base, the businessman at the base. Because once that person is accommodated, we accommodate the person at the top tier. Top as well.
And above all, we have to look for a model to give leverage to innovation, so that our copyrights and patents, especially the patents that come with our youth. Ask yourself, I think it's in JKUAT we had a ventilator. Where did it go?
It was in Kenyatta University.
It was in Kenyatta University.
Yes.
This is the place where you had a ventilator.
Yes.
There was someone, I think in Kiambu Road, with the hospital beds. You see,
where did they go to?
Where did they go?
Yes.
So we are not promoting the local contractor. And once we fail to promote the local contractor, we kill many practices that surround that practice. Because remember, these practices are surrounded by, number 1, a marketing agent, an accountant, an IT specialist. We kill them once we fail to promote the local contractor.
Right.
Once we fail to pay the local contractor, you understand?
Yes.
And we pay the overseas contractor, this contractor will not have the capacity to create jobs, to create revenue, and above all, to build onto our expertise. Because let me speak, although I don't qualify to speak on their behalf. Engineers, we are not building onto what they have.
What they can offer.
Okay. It's a practice. I would not call it a rudimentary practice, but we are not really building up onto their capacities. You understand?
Given how important it is. It's funny that it's rudimentary on that level.
Yes. Because now we import too much of their practices. We import them. You find in a local village, in a very, very local remote area, it's a Chinese doing the roads. You understand?
As if we never graduated engineers.
Yes, as if Kenyatta University, JKUAT University of Nairobi has not given us engineers. So we are not building up. So once we promote the local contractor, we even get a chance to compete on a global scene.
I see how government can improve business operation in the Republic in that way. Supporting that supply chain, ensuring, of course, the base is well supported. And, sometimes I imagine this should be the government's greatest effort, because they will reap the rewards. From the taxes that will be collected, from the professionals that will come out of it. They have to contribute to NHIF, they have to pay their pays.
And above all, Kenya to the world. Kenya to the world. This is what Kenya to the world. This is what we do. This is what we have. This is Kenya to the world.
Yes, right.
So once we fail to promote the local contractor, we fail to showcase Kenya to the world. Yes.
I'm trying to get Kahawa. They call themselves Kahawa. Is it Kahawa 1738? there's just a new venture that is taking care of farmers in Kahawa 1893 Coffee. It is founded by Margaret Nyamumbo, who's a third generational coffee farmer from Kenya, and they've been raising quite a deal in trying to empower farmers in the supply chain of coffee. They were in Shark Tank a few months back. We also saw that they raised a bit of money this year. So, the more we support that, the more we put Kenya to the world.
In fact, connect me to her because I'm a coffee farmer.
Okay.
I've got a few stems in Kirugwe.
Nice. You should send this to her, and then we build up that base. Of course. Thank you very much. Just one question, one last question. We can't handle them all, but we have Michael Oyaro on Facebook. Ameguzwa sana na hiyo mambo ya brokers. I hope you're not a broker. Brokers play a role currently and fill a gap. What are your suggestions on what should be implemented to fill the role they do and effectively take them out, but gradually? I hope he's not fearing for his job, but anataka gradually. What can we do to replace them and fill the gap they currently, the role they play?
Yep, we can't whitewash them on one night. We wake up and sleep and they are not there. But it's a gradual process. And they are there to fill the gap. He's correct. They are there to fill the gap. In my view, what should be done? As I said, advocacy and sensitization towards the consumer. That's why there is no broker between me and you. When I was called for the show, there was no broker. The manufacturer, the person doing the production, should be very keen. It is very bad, let's say you've manufactured something, then there is a broker. You're the person who did put in the work to get the piece intact. Then there is a broker in between who makes more money than you for that product to get the final consumer. You understand? When it comes even to the government system, the tenderpreneurs, these tenderpreneurs move with tenders and they sell them like potatoes. Later.
They have tenders ready every other time.
Later.
Shika.
Later. You understand?
Now it's become a culture.
And now with that, we kill the opportunities brought by what? Equality, number one. Competition, number two. And number three, what else do we kill? The aspects of fair competition, equality, and the women, physically challenged persons, the persons with disabilities, and the youth.
Marginalized people.
Marginalized people. The people who should be in the cluster of affirmative action. We get them out of the system. So it's a good practice that we get rid of them through sensitization, advocacy, tech. And tech.
Right.
And tech.
Tech itawatoa sana kweli.
Tech itawatoa. Because if you remember, just as we were saying, going to the airport with a taxi was a big deal. 2010, 2012, taxi
was quite expensive.
3 rich uncles, not all uncles, not all of them.
That's 3 rich uncles.
3 rich uncles must have a conversation with their phones at hand for them to get a taxi. But nowadays you get a taxi from your comfort at any time. Yes.
For sure. Yes. Thank you very much for...
When it comes to telemedicine, you don't need to present yourself physically to a
now
doctor.
You can have consultations online.
You have consultations online. Mike Oyaro, I think he's a lawyer. I think he's a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I think. Mike Oyaro, there is this digital lawyer. What do you call him? Wakili?
Wakili AI.
Wakili AI.
Yes.
You get an
Yes, we have them here.
Getting an affidavit was a very long process. But Wakili AI, that is not even done by a lawyer, you get
that in seconds.
You get that in seconds. Yes. You get a sworn affidavit in seconds without a broker, without a call, by just paying 500 shillings.
Yes.
That is close to $2. $2. So, with that, I mean, we have to look for a way. We have to agree that tech is coming. It was quite impossible a number of years back for yourself as an individual to import your car. But nowadays,
you can do that
from the comfort of your
smartphone.
Of your smartphone. In Kirugwe, Kiangombe in Kirugwe.
But like I need this Porsche Cayenne.
Porsche Cayenne. You can get your Porsche Cayenne or a Porsche Macan because I like the Porsche Macan. You can get a Porsche Macan. I ordered it from Kirugwe. It gets to the port. It gets cleared online, and I'll get a driver from Mombasa
to bring it all the way to your doorstep.
To bring it to my mother's doorstep in Kirugwe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Tech is going to be a very
it's an enabler and a revolutionary and a revolutionary. It's an enabler and a revolutionary in business practices.
Okay.
Even in governance.
All right.
Yep.
Nice. Thank you very much. You've touched on so many areas, from business to governance to how the government can come in. And I just will give you this chance to maybe give one last remark when it comes to that to the players. And also because you're a professional, I don't know if businesses want to engage you for consultation services, you can let them know. Let me read this feedback, and then you can do that as we close up that section. Cindy Maina, this is one very informative guy. Kudos to him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy, for tuning in and sending in a comment. Diana Wenwa, this show is educative for the young people. Asante. Sharon Mwaniki, embracing financial education is key in growing our economy as a nation. And I just received here some information from my producer on the Kenyan entrepreneur, Margaret Nyamumbo, who is based in New York City, who received a massive investment of 44 million Kenyan shillings into a coffee company that is helping Kenyan coffee farmers get dues that are worth of their time and taking out of the middleman, taking out that middleman. That's actually her statement for the company, taking out the middleman and helping farmers reap huge. Your last remarks.
Well, my last remark when it comes to this, I must reiterate my thanks for having me on this show. A lot must be done. And let me say, the world is spelling a lot when it comes to the opportunities in the supply chain sector, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to governance, when it comes to consumption. That's why we've got global brands, initially global brands. So a lot is spelling. I would like to encourage the local contractor to keep doing on what they do, because some local contractors are showcasing Kenya in a large aspect. The aspect, let's say, let me speak of one, Joke. This person who makes the bags.
Yes.
They are bags of a global repute.
Yes.
But we don't amplify his practice.
Yes, luxury designer from Kenya.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot must be done. I would call on my people and my countrymen to promote our local contractor, the government to support the businesses at the base model so that we don't crush them, and above all, to brace ourselves for the regulations that are coming, because now there is a lot of regulations that are coming that were not there. Remember, we have not touched on how procurement is regulated, let's say, by the central bank, by the regulatory board, by the review board, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
By the ombudsman.
Yes. There's also that Public Procurement and Disposal Act, which I had a question on, but yeah, we didn't touch on that as well.
Yep. But it was revised to the asset disposal, and there is a revised edition of 2022.
Okay, yeah.
There are so many things that are there. Well, I would say that the youth are a bit crippled because they cannot meet all the clusters. So you get that. I'll not call them middlemen because that word has featured too much. They are agents of big men.
Yes.
They are agents of big men. So I would just say that let everyone play a sincere and honest role, so that we can have a vibrant economy and showcase Kenya and our contractor prowess to the world.
All right. Dr. George Wanjobi.
Yes.
Muturi,
yes.
Lecturer and CPA. That was a great conversation on procurement.
And the CAPS.
Supply chain.
CAPS. Yes,
right.
CAPS.
CAPS. What's CAPS info?
It's a professional paper for the procurement practitioners.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anyone who'd like, that's actually the last thing that I'd asked. If there's someone who'd like to engage you for strategic management consultations and whatnot, is that something they can do? Reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me because I'm a scholar and I'm a consultant.
Okay.
When it comes to affairs of supply chain and affairs of strategic management for small organizations to apex organizations. So I go on Facebook, that is Dr. George Wanjobi. My email is gmoturi34@gmail.com, and my number is 0718-542-293. That's my commercial number.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much for creating time for us here.
Thank you very much,
yes,
my brother.
That has been a very great conversation.
And very insightful one.
Yes, it is.
And I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. I wish you the best.
May God see you in your endeavors.
Asante
together with the rest of the team.
Okay, thank you very much. May you have a great day as well. That was Dr. George Muturi. and we'll be having that conversation later on YouTube. So if you missed out and you've just joined in and you feel like it's a bit too late, you didn't get enough, on YouTube later on we'll upload it, KUTV Kenya, find it, and then send in your questions. If there's something that you'd like to follow up, we'll help you do that. We are not middlemen because we're not making money out of it, but we are the agents of the big man, and we will help you. We'll help you get to him.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very
Taking
much.
a short break, I'll be back with Nick Mwadime Mwangi for that conversation on the newspaper review. Is also coming along with Samuel Karanja, president of the Student Union, Kabete National Polytechnic. The Daily Nation, is it more daily and less nation? The Business Daily, more business, less business, more daily? If you have the Standard, what kind of standards have they set this morning in the headlines? We'll be looking at those when we are back. Don't go too far. Biashara Tuesday is still on air. Nice. Good one.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Tunachimba hadi mizizi kukuletea yanayojiri.
So mimi naomba tu serikali yetu ya Mungu, jibarikiwe na Mungu, iweze kuteremsha bei ya mafuta.
Yanayokukumba tuna maizi, tunakutetea sisiri. Ukweli ni speciali tukikupambia makala ya mwanamke mwake. Utasema hupendi mizizi ya habari. Nami Caroline Kimwe.
Ni kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday, we ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
Tunachimba hadi mizizi kukuletea yanayojiri.
So mimi naomba tu serikali yetu ya Mungu, jibarikiwe na Mungu, iweze kuteremsha bei ya mafuta.
Yanayokukumba tuna maizi, tunakutetea sisiri. Kwa kweli ni speciali tukikupambia makala ya mwanamke mwake. Utasema hupendi mizizi ya habari. Nami Caroline Kimwele.
Ni kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. Every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
On air, Biashara Tuesday is the hashtag that you should be using on social platforms if you're communicating to us. The tags that you should be tagging are at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Okenye. And finally, I've actually gotten to your side of things that we should not call it X. It should remain as Twitter. Definitely, I can't be signing up on a platform called X. So I have tried to insist on calling it X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. But let's just call it Twitter. So on Twitter, tag me at Richard_Okenye. I'll see your feedback, your reactions. The Standard, the Business Daily, and the Daily Nation is what I have here for the newspaper review section that is now live on air. We are reacting, commentating, predicting on what is coming up, what is there, and what has been there. So let's see what the headlines have here for us this morning before I introduce the gentlemen who I have invited here on the show to help me with their perspective on the developments in the nation. The Standard, in eye of a storm. In eye of a storm is the top story or the top headline on the Standard. President William Ruto has announced compensation for Kenyans affected by the floods. Although the money will assuage the pain inflicted on families, the losses are too high to bear. So what does this money look like? 10,000 Kenyan shillings per household for those who've been displaced, 3 months worth of rent, and then you're on your own. There's 1 billion Kenyan shillings set aside for schools rehabilitation, but there's a question on where the 10 billion that was set aside last year is at for this kind of preparedness. You can see a picture of a resident here trying to save their belongings after a river broke its banks in Marigat, Baringo County. We've seen this case all across the country. Of course, every waking day is a new river breaking its bank, or a new road which has been washed away, or massive landslides. That's the Standard. At the left, we have why House team wants city audited, a picture of Sakaja and him yesterday facing the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, which has directed the Auditor General to table reports of expenditure of up to 43 billion by the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, where it was managed by Nairobi County. And Governor Sakaja, former senator, Governor Sakaja was also answering on why he did not appear before the committee on dates where he was summoned and was missing. That's the Standard. Picture of President William Ruto, apparent also there. Those are the top stories. At the top, there's something you can find page 8, page 7. After doctors, nurses too are issuing a strike notice. So doctors are on their second month, actually just wrapping it up before they go to the third month of strikes, and nurses have issued their own notice as well. The Daily Nation, Raila's dilemma in race for top AU job. Hard choices. Azimio leader Raila Odinga is in a difficult position in as far as his quest for the post of the AUC chairperson is concerned. Whether to tone down his attack on President William Ruto, who is backing his bid, or to go hard on the Kenya Kwanza failures and risk his chances of support from the government. Mr. Odinga is now in unfamiliar territory, according to the Daily Nation though. But the panelist of the day will let me know if this is still just as familiar as any other territory that Raila Odinga has been in. At the bottom, there's a photo of President William Ruto and Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki and other leaders in Kiamaiko slums in Mathare yesterday. And that's where he gave that pronouncement of the amount of support that the government is giving towards affected families. The Business Daily has got business on a daily, and it's money that has been siphoned by top executives of Cusco, which is a SACCO operated here. And we see the acting manager director, Arnold Munene, and cabinet secretary for cooperatives and MSMEs. Some CSs just always operate in the shadows. If I did a poll now on how many people know the cooperatives and MSMEs cabinet secretary, if people know even there's that ministry, it's been very silent. And now we see them here hammering down on the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, who've siphoned 587 million annually over a decade. Can you calculate how much that is in 10 years? And then we'll get to your feedback. Nick Mwadime Mwangi, and as well as president of Kabete Poly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't know whether to begin with Nick or to save new for last, Ama.
Well, you have to begin with the president.
You have to begin with the president.
Just a
Protocols. Oh, yes. All protocols observed. We begin with the president. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
I'm well.
Yes.
My name is Samuel Karanja from Kabete National Polytechnic.
Yes.
I have been a president of Kabete for quite some time, and as well as youth leader in Embakasi West, Nairobi County. And I'm happy to be here. I appreciate.
Right.
Thank you.
We also appreciate your presence here this morning. Watu wa Kabete maji na wapeleka aje?
Uko maji ni mingi, and the government is still working. Yeah. You see, the president said he has set 1 billion. Where we wonder where it is and where has it been since the floods were there.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Just a reaction 2 weeks into the disaster,
Yeah.
which of course they've refused to call a disaster as such. And I saw statements from Azimio leaders saying, you know, they can't declare this a national disaster because the government already is a national disaster. The healthcare system is a national disaster. The education is a national disaster. So they are a bit confused. The airport is a national disaster. So they're a bit confused on what exactly is a disaster.
Richard, I'm shocked. You know,
Yeah.
the government, some time back, they said there is no floods and there is no El Nino will no longer be there. But now they are rushing the last minute. You wonder, are these weather forecasters doing their job?
Right. Last year we
Do
saw the
they
president.
work with the government?
Yeah.
That's our big question.
Yeah.
Because next time we don't expect such to happen. Of course, they have failed. They have failed Kenyans. Kenyans are struggling. They are vacating the last minute. They have no plans. Because if they had plans and they have already prepared us that there is El Nino, they could have vacated those people before.
Way early, yeah.
Yes.
So it seems there's no...
Our question remains, where have they been all this time?
Right.
And where did the money go? Because Kenyans are paying taxes, Kenyans are working day and night to pay taxes, but the money is not there.
Yeah.
Kenyans are still struggling.
Right.
That's our question.
10,000 bob per household. We'll also be seeing if that is worthy.
But that,
getting
Richard,
accommodation, food for I don't know how long.
Is that a permanent solution?
Good questions to ask.
How many times will they give them 10,000? How long will they survive with those 10,000? Even if they give them food, and these are people that they have vacated to new places, they have no jobs, they are not familiar with the places. The government must find a permanent solution to avoid this next time, because this has already happened. But next time, we urge the government, let it have good plans, let them manage disaster funds well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Welcome to the show. We'll get into more of those details.
Thank you so much.
As well as we go on. Thank you for that introduction, and of course your sentiments on the biggest issue that's currently facing the nation. Nick, karibu sana, National Executive Director of MKUSA, Sir Nick Mwadime Mwangi.
Yes, thank you so much, Richard. You know, Richard, today,
yeah,
I was humble enough to board, we the hustlers of Roysambu, we bought the matatu to Kenyatta University.
It's okay, mutafika.
Luckily enough, you know, there's this famous radio called Radio Japo, and there's this man called from Kawangware, and he called and saying, Gidi na ghost, mimi niko na huzuni sana, ile chama ya Mama Esther United walishinda kushika Crystal kwa Palace. So
oh my God, Ten Hag out.
I'm wondering what he was talking about.
Umekuja
unajua mimi sipendi fitina.
Umekuja kujua baadaye.
So I'm here wondering, and he was really complaining that, you know, sasa imeharibu maneno ya nyumba pale. Sasa bibi yake anamuaccuse falsely. Sasa anajua ile ni patanisho show. So I don't know what he was talking about. I don't know what he was planning.
Eti kufanya nini kwa Palace? Kuweka Kristo kwa Palace.
So I was really wondering how it's going to turn out.
Anyway, they pray a lot on the House of the Hill.
Yes,
I'm sure
yes.
kuna Kristo kwa Palace.
Yes, so it's a good morning. The people of Roysambu keep sending me here. Let me say good morning to my chairman of Nyeri.
Yes.
And that is Washira Kimoho. Ananiambia ako pale mahali naitwa Ruare. So, and then also my chairman in Moranga, President Mavich. He's also here in KU.
Yeah.
And all the chairmen of the county, 11 counties at Mount Kenya Colleges University Student Association, we represent.
Okay.
Because I know we're going to talk so much about Raila, we're going to talk so much about the floods.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Nairobi County, our Nairobi. Let me say our Nairobi.
Hey, you're Nairobi. I'm from Kiambu County, by the way, just to make it clear.
Because
sina hizo shida.
maneno ya Nairobi kidogo ya Sakaja
inaenda magumu.
Inaenda kuwa Kangaja.
Yeah. Itabidi aende Sakaja.
Yes, Sakaja. Ama ataomba ja.
All right, so let's get then to the big story, which is in eye of a storm on the Standard. President William Ruto has announced these relief measures. Schools are closed indefinitely. Families are being evacuated. We have a death toll that is above 200 so far. As of yesterday, it was about, I think, 228 according to official reports, and probably more that's going to be from today. In Eye of a Storm is the leading headline. On page 2, 3, and 4 is where you get the detailed, of course, report from across counties. Flood evictions spark outrage as residents mull their next move. Those displaced say they should have been given more time to move out. Of course, as President Samuel ametuambia hapo, there seems to be no working relationship between the Kenyan Met Department and the national government. I remember last year DP Gachagua had the boss of the Kenya Met apologize on a press conference. Na ebu ako wapi huyo jamaa huyo, mwambie ambia wa Kenya ile ukweli yenye iko.
You know, the people of Nairobi are jokingly they are saying we are facing the trying times of Egypt. The floods have started. We are now into the darkness, and they're saying, let Pharaoh let his people go.
Mimi kama firstborn nikisikia mambo kama hayo, I'm very afraid. So it seems we are in the midst of a plague.
And I know, Richard, I don't know. These are people who prayed for rain. And you know, if you pray for rain, you expect floods. So I don't know what they're really praying across here and there.
They overprayed?
Probably. But it really puts a lot of question in mind on the issue of preparation. This is a guy, allegedly, he put almost, let me say, 18 billion. The first 10 billion, another 7 billion, right? Today he's saying another 1 billion. So that is around 19 to 20 billion.
Yes. Not adding the other donations coming out of the British High Commissions and other people who
you really wonder a lot. In matured democracies, they prepare for issues like cyclone, right? They prepare for issues like hurricane. People are warned months or years to slowly and progressively evacuate. Here in Kenya, people are waiting for, the man on the top is waiting for people to drown in floods and also the mudslide, so that he can come in gumboots as if he's going to a shamba to save the day.
It's farmer number one.
Come on.
It's farmer number one. Has to show up in his regalia.
We joke too much.
We joke too much.
I've seen photos circulating that he was buying some mangoes or some fruits to young kids with his gumboots. Just to, you know, the
PR king, as you always call him.
It is too much. Too much propaganda for him.
You know, you can't be lying to Kenyans each and every day. Something comes in, and then you wear a gumboot, and then you go, you take pictures, but you're not doing anything. Because if you tell people to vacate at night, and you are vacating them by force, and you are not providing anything, and then you are telling them, you know, those people have been there. If they constructed their structures on riverbanks, they could have been told before. They could have solved this problem before. They can't wait until something happens,
and then
so that problems are and then they pretend that they have been there, they have been minding about it. This is not the kind of government that we wish to have.
Last week we were calling for them to show up, so I am sure the UDA and the Kenya Kwanza fanatics will ask, mulisema president atoke, mulisema DP atokeze, ametokezea, shida iko wapi tena?
But the problem si kutokezea. The problem is the solving the problem that is there. Even if he doesn't appear and things are well,
we don't really need to see him.
We don't really need the president to see him. We really need to see the work that he's doing.
It's not much about him making statements or showing face.
Yes, it's all about the work that he's doing with his people. If everything is well, we Kenyans, we would be minding our business.
On page 2 of the Standard, the Kenyan Human Rights Commission has described the demolition of houses in these areas, which they say are on riparian land, as an injustice targeting the poor. If you take a look at the reports, there's flooding happening in Runda, in Karen, in any other suburb, as well as it's happening in slum areas. But it seems there's there's demonization of the poor and where they live. Inakaa wao sasa ndio sana wanaishi next to the rivers. And they're saying here that even the government's deadline elapsed and without sufficient notice or proper consultations. Yet more affluent neighborhoods that flooded even more and sat on riparian land were left untouched, highlighting a selective, punitive and discriminatory expedition. Last week on Labor Day, Governor Sakaja praised the president on his affordable housing. Of course, the president also did mention that sasa with this eviction, it's even high time in time mzuri sana tujenge affordable housing. Au majamaa watokeze. I wonder if in your affluent neighborhood of Karen mnaletewa affordable housing pia.
You know you're accusing me falsely. Coming from Roysambu. And where Roysambu is Githurai, 44, Zimmerman, and Kahawa West and Kahawa wards.
Do you feel targeted?
I heard the president telling people to move to higher grounds.
Yeah.
That's why the Azimio party leader Raila Amolo Odinga was asking the president, where are those higher grounds in Nairobi?
Tunatafuta higher grounds ziko wapi?
And this is why I agree with my boss, Jeremiah Kioni, our SG, that this government, right from onward, everything is a disaster. Fertilizer,
national disaster.
Airport, disaster. Education, disaster. Health, disaster. The issue of the bandit, disaster.
Yeah, security. I didn't even remember there was that. Yeah.
You understand?
Back to back since 2022.
Disaster.
Yeah.
So the whole government itself is a disaster.
So why do we pretend that things are going on well? There's relief efforts, things are turning around. It seems there's a positive outlook when you're looking at it from the government.
And the other day, because we are facing a looming issue, and you know, when floods come, they come with waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid. You understand? I was reading the papers today that the increase of the typhoid rate and the cholera has shot from around 2% to 5% among children.
Wow.
Leave alone them dying.
Just the cases fast.
And to make the matters worse, the doctors are on strike.
And nurses are joining them. They have issued their 7-day notice.
I told you here, Richard. I told you the nurses will come forth. The teachers have already gave their first warning. Shule wangefungua tu hivi last week.
Hiyo kwa barabara already for sure.
Because this is a government that gives false promises and a lot of PR. They're talking about the housing projects, right?
Yes, it's a good time.
Where will they do the housing project? How many people can afford the housing project, Richard?
They'll prioritize the people who have been affected by floods the most. Out about you affordable.
But Richard, are they giving them for free?
Yes. Is it a donation?
It's not a donation. If these people have they are given food, and then you are coming to tell them about affordable housing.
How can they afford?
And even so,
they afford that?
Even
so, how affordable?
Even so, as if we are giving them houses, it is their right. They are paying 1.5%.
Yeah. So it's their houses.
It's their houses.
But you know the problem with this government, may can say corruption is the one that is draining us.
Okay.
Because if there is no corruption, everybody has become corrupt. Because the president is talking about 10 billion and on the other side we are seeing Sakaja being questioned about mismanagement of funds.
Yes.
Whereas Nairobi there is a lot to be done.
Yeah.
Because even if you see these floods, the water that is flooding the areas, some of these areas are not supposed to flood because there is drainage systems, but they are blocked. The government is supposed to clean those sewages. They never did it. They never used the money to clean.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes the disaster, even if the disaster is there and even if the rain are too much, they're not supposed to be flooding the way they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of course now we've also established a Nairobi River Commission.
Yes.
And that is headed by Waititu. I have not seen any work.
Oh, you know, Waititu once said you need to shift the position of the river.
Yes. So maybe he's working on that. He's currently digging
seriously
ways
working on
Probably that's why it's flooding. Amechanganya mtu hadi saizi it's finding its way to our
speaking of Nairobi, I could clearly not see Sakaja yesterday in Kiamaiko when the president visited the people of Mathare.
Yeah.
I was asking myself, what is really happening? Is he sidelined? Is he
well, there's hearsay that Raila Amolo Odinga is now his new godfather. Probably could signal a rift between him and the president in UDA.
Ideally, as you say, it's hearsay.
Yes.
Because, you know, one thing that Sakaja realizes, he knows that the members of County Assembly of Nairobi County are majority
Azimio.
Not just Azimio.
ODM.
So he aligns himself to avoid issues of impeachment. Because once you're impeached in chapter 6 of the Constitution, you cannot hold any public office.
Right.
Today, even if we go back to the moon and come back, Sonko will never get re-elected constitutionally.
Yeah.
Why it do the same?
Impeachment stands.
The impeachment stands. And you know, the worst thing that can happen to you as a leader, Richard, is Integrity Act of Chapter 6, if it's violated.
Yeah.
And I know that he's vying for chairmanship of Nairobi against the Embakasi North MP Gakuya, and we know that Sakaja's problems is not with the president, because he say that him and the president come from the same region.
Him and the president do.
Hearsay. That's why I said hearsay.
Johnson
he's
Chepchirchir.
He's called Koskei.
Koskei.
Yes. It's called Arthur Johnson Koskei.
Okay.
Yeah, so
and on that, Sanik and Richard, I think it's high time our leaders to know it is not all about politics, because they started politicizing everything. They're supposed to work for Wajiko, who elected them, because they will come back in 2027 demanding for us to, or requesting us to vote again. We will not look at their dispute or how they worked, but we will look the work they worked for, they did for us, for Wajiko.
Right.
So if they start fighting or they are stopped working by their disputes or whatever they want to do, let them change.
Yeah.
Let them change.
Right.
Or otherwise we will change them in 2027.
let them change or we change them. It's not the right time actually to be focusing on this kind of internal disputes.
Yes.
Whether political, party level. And Nairobi is, I think, among the most affected counties when it comes to what is happening right now with El Nino. I wonder.
You see, we're getting it very wrong, Richard. Nairobi is not the most affected. Look at Tana River. Nairobi is just, it has been put a lot of focus because it's a capital city.
Okay.
Go to Nyando. Go to Mai where people died. Richard, the rain started beating us at Nairobi. The governors, the 47 governors, know and realize that there's an issue of floods, Richard. But speaking of devolution, right? Governors cannot do anything if the money has been held at the county level.
Yes.
The president is holding ransom governors, Richard, and we know. And sad enough, because I cannot defend my governor, and we know the people of Nairobi have already decided that he may survive impeachment between 2022 and 2027, but we are definitely sure that he's not going to come back come 2027, because the people of Nairobi are tired. The streets, Richard, you cannot walk on the streets without your gumboots. People cannot use Ubers anymore. People cannot use motorcycle. I saw the other places, the tarmac places like here in Kise, whereby there's this certain boda guy who was warned not to cross with the passenger. But unfortunately, things did not go as he was planning, because I understand why he was really struggling to cross the place where it's still flooded, because at the same time, these people are also frustrated with economic issues.
They still have to go to work.
They still have to go to work. They still have to eat.
Yeah.
They have children to feed. Now imagine we are talking about housing projects when people are hungry, Richard.
We are mentioning billions of shillings when people are homeless and hungry.
You can imagine, and they are feeling cold.
Yeah.
There's no, the president could have just done a simple thing, come with blankets. There's no civility. What is he coming to inspect?
The effects.
Yeah? What are you coming to inspect?
Something that we can already see. We don't need to be there. I don't need to be in Mathare to know what exactly has happened.
You understand?
Yeah.
I really want to question where his humanity is at this point of place. Where is the hustler that his body language was at some point of time that he was so humanly that one will think that he's the second Jesus.
So if we pick it up on that, and I think it was with you that I highlighted an issue of micromanagement.
Yes.
A possibility of micromanagement. I don't know if it was you or Kimani Wachira who told me, no, there's no micromanagement. It was with regards to the education education ministry.
Kimani Wachira changed sides. So.
It must have been Kimani. Apologies, Wachira.
Kimani
so,
is my
again,
good friend, but
I bring it up. Counties are asking for access to that 10 billion national contingency fund that was set aside. And it shows here that so far, not many of them have actually spent the amount of money that was set aside. I was trying to get the actual figures, yes. So counties are still sitting on 1 billion. They had to spend 1 billion budgeted for emergency services in the financial year. From where you sit at from president to president, can we point out to this being an issue of micromanagement? Even looking at maybe Sakaja not being there yesterday, counties saying they are yet to receive the funds, or they are yet to be given an okay to spend the disaster management fund. And Nick has brought up devolution there. Devolution should have been a thing where we have given the monotony, where counties need to respond as fast as they can with the funds that they have. Is there an issue of micromanagement with the president?
Richard,
yeah.
There is a lot of micromanagement of funds.
Yes.
Because
micromanagement, I like that.
Yes. Because the president himself gave a briefing about the El Nino.
Yes.
And said that there is no El Nino, and he's the one that said that there is some money set aside for those emergencies.
Yeah.
For El Nino.
Yeah.
But now they have come to tell us, they came to and told us that the El Nino is no longer there. It will no longer happen, and yet they have not told us where the money will
go if it doesn't show.
Yeah. So I think counties have a right to ask for this.
So
money.
Probably the money you think has been spent elsewhere?
If governor is failing because he was not given money to work, then he or she should ask for it.
Yes.
So that he is able to work for his people and everything is set okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is very difficult to believe the president at this juncture, because in one mouth, recently we had Labor Day, he rose up and told the doctors there is no money. In another mouth, in Kiamaiko, he's saying he's going to
give 1 billion. Yeah, his office and the office of the DP and the office of the First Lady and the office of the spouse of the Deputy President have had their budgets.
You understand,
doubled.
Richard?
Yes.
This is double speak.
Yes, there's money. There's money. I think one thing we've established on this show regularly is there is money in this republic.
Because we are paying taxes each and every single day.
Yeah.
Richard, one thing that I really want to emphasize, let us set our policies and our laws very clear. On the issue of management of funds, I think it is high time in the collection of revenue, right? It is very clear, because counties collect revenue, but all this money goes to a national basket, then they come back to county.
Nafikisha alafu ndio ugawiwe.
That's where the problem is.
Okay.
It is high time we set policies and law that clearly direct where the national government comes in and where the county government comes in. Because one thing I know is for a fact, the president cannot be everywhere at the same time. He's micromanaging everything at the State House.
So should we have the treasury devolved as well? Or somehow?
But why do we have CAC for finance and planning at the county level, Richard?
Indeed.
I think the other thing that is killing us is, what is called this mismanagement and what do we call it? Misappropriation of funds.
Okay.
Even if we have seen many times, even if Kanjo comes, these city councils, there is a lot of corruption. If corrupt people are the one that are taking funds, they are the one that are correcting, how will we survive?
It doesn't matter how much we collect.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't. They don't care.
So the issue is the issue because Nick.
The issue here is corruption. If we kill corruption, everything will be okay. But if the president himself is corrupt, how will his people work?
Well, this is my thinking, Richard, because corruption is neither here nor there.
It is here and there, bro.
It's a
and
fluid
everywhere.
statement. I will tell you why. You cannot clearly prove somebody is corrupt, because if I want some services from him, some favor, I call Richard. Tutapatana jioni tukunywe kachai. That is corruption in some way.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
So what we can do as a country, whereby let us go step by step, right? Our first issue that we're saying, things are being micromanaged at the national level. We devolve them.
Okay.
Sindio? Number 2, let us set policies that empower the EACC. Right? The EACC needs to be now apolitical, away from politics. That things that we want to look at, people who have been empowered to collect revenue are people who are ethical.
Yes.
Because we will discuss here the whole issue here, Richard, and not even provide issues on the issues of corruption. Because these are it's a time immemorial issues that are facing our country. What we clearly need are policies and laws that are clearly divided to know what is President Sam need to collect. How much has he collected in a day? Can he account for it? Where is the 50 shillings? That's where the Senate comes in. We have a whole committee called Public Accounts Committee, PAC.
Yes.
That's what they do each and every day. They question the governors. And right now, as we speak, they are adding a clause to that committee that it gives them power to arrest governors who run away from that kinds of questioning. And I know why they ran away, because the issue about financial year are usually, let me say, perennial. Governors inherit bloated budgets, bloated
pending bills,
misappropriation. Now, he was a governor of Nairobi. He retired probably as a senator. I'm being tasked to answer why money was lost during his time. You understand?
When he was the one who was.
And at the same time, politics play into it.
Yeah, a lot of politics play into it.
You understand?
That's why that empowerment of EACC will come in handy.
You get? And that's why we clearly need to know by this point of time, how do we now put our county governments in check?
Yeah.
Because right now there are so many pending bills in our counties. Governors are paying debts at the same time paying their
own.
I didn't want to say that.
One thing I can say is for sure we need to empower EACC if recent trends or recent stories are something to go with. They're going after the ex-governor of Marsabit County, ex-CS
and
as
you see
well.
that looks very political. They're going for ex-governor of Murang'a because apparently
Mwangi wa area, yes.
We are planning Limuru 3.
So you think even with Kuriatani isn't really?
It is not.
So how then do we? Let me ask the president.
But you know corruption. Corruption starts from the time of election. Once maybe it's me and you and Sanik, we are vying for governor in Nairobi, and then maybe I might be having leadership skills. Sanik might not be having leadership skills, and he has money. You know, the Wanjiko will vote the one that has money. You come and you are given 100 bob. Then you are sacrifice your vote because of your. Let us stop. You know, starts from us.
From the election.
Everybody should take that responsibility that there is no and corruption. I don't know who will come with that strategy. It's hard. It's hard to manage.
It's quite a hard
job.
It's quite a hard job. It's quite a hard thing to get rid of because now it's become a culture.
That's why I say
budget.
Because you know, even some of those people who are in those seats, they got there because of corruption.
So it's hard to
how
get rid
will
of a
they end
habit.
corruption? And they know if they end, they will be affected.
Yeah, this is their source of income.
Yes.
And that's why I said, Richard, there's a very thin line between favors and corruption. That's why I say
So that's why
can-
it's hard to fight
Yes.
the corruption itself.
You understand? Because right now you may be doing me favors so that I do you
a favor later.
You know, I was shocked. The president himself and his deputy, they said that there is people who don't have papers and they are working for the government.
Yeah.
I was really shocked because how
unqualified
did they go
personnel.
there? Yes, how did they get there? Because of corruption.
Yes.
That's why if those people who are working in EACC, maybe some of them they don't have papers. Do you expect them to be straight?
Yeah.
They can't.
Let us empower these bodies.
Right.
EACC, DPP. Let us empower
Empower
folks.
institutions. I think that's a very good.
You understand? We will not, because right now, Richard, see, right now there's the third arm of the government called judiciary. If I allegedly accuse you to be corrupt, I have the burden to prove.
Yes, to prove. Yeah, proof of burden. Burden of proof
lies to those to the person that alleges.
Yes.
You have to take me to court. The judge has to look at the evidence. It's not. You see, corruption. People usually take it as an issue of morality versus ethics. But in court, they only believe evidence. President Sam, he has been president in Kabete. Did he mismanage or misappropriate the funds? Should he be taken to court? Executive Director Mkusa, Nick Modime Mwangi, he has been an executive director for probably some time. Should he be taken to court for misappropriating the funds of the people of Mount Kenya? You understand? And even so, how do we empower our court system so that it does not look as if it is only the poor who get the sentencing, and the rich escape the sentencing?
Escape justice. But you see, then the empowerment, I like the aspect that we need to empower up to the last point, given that we could still charge these people, and then these cases are dropped after. As we have noticed with the current regime, all the corruption cases filed before then, everyone else is free to go. I think that will be the same trend with Ukuri Atani and
in China. In China today, if the court finds you guilty of corruption, you are hanged to death. In South Korea, the former president of South Korea was jailed to life because of misappropriation of funds. So if we as let me say, Kenyan, because corruption seems to be perceived as if it's an African disease.
It's an African disease. But it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, as I said before, it's neither here nor there. If we can build and empower our systems very well, because the only issues here we are talking about, Richard, this morning, why are we facing floods? Lack of empowerment of a certain ministry. Lack of empowerment of county governments. Do you understand?
Yes.
We are not building our systems in a way so they sustain themselves.
Such that now we are relying on private institutions like Kenya Red Cross.
And of course,
to do response.
At the end of it day, we also have to be very realistic. In as much as we want to blame the government entirely, we also have a responsibility of managing waste. I wish Dennis Kimani was here. He will tell you that most of our drainage are because we cannot manage even the waste that are from our homes.
Yes.
Our tunnels, our rivers have plastic, have a lot of waste. So countries like Rwanda, I will tell you, every Friday, everybody wakes up to clean
the streets.
Right. So is it time Kenyans they will agree to it?
Maybe.
Yeah, because we will. I told you the other day, Richard, nobody is coming to save us.
Yeah. And
there is no Superman.
And Deno, actually you brought up Deno there. Deno said that in Kenya we don't do waste management, we do waste movement.
Yeah. From one place to another.
No management done in there between. And you can see the effects, of course, even with the drainage systems, and climate change is real. Guys, I want to just anger you before we move away from that flooding story. This is David Ndi on Twitter. I'm sure he's very happy because he's sure he'll be mentioned across all this, across these conversations on TV. But yeah, we'll still do it. Death by the numbers. This was his tweet on 4th of May. 4th of May ilikuwa lini? Saturday. Death by the numbers. Anasema mnakasirika sana. I think I actually want to get a first reaction from our president here. Mnakasirika sana na watu wana. People die every day. That's what he's saying. And he has the figures. He's saying death by the numbers. A memo to the empathy patrol. Empathy patrol ni sisi hawa watatu tuna empathize na Kenyans. At our national mortality rate is 8 per 1,000, which translates to 1,200 deaths per day, 8,400 per week. An average family of 4.5 people means 40,000 people lose an immediate family member every day. Assuming 100 close family and friends, 4 million Kenyans are grieving every week. Keyboard wailing, yenye tuna tweet, and trending news cycle driven sob stories does not constitute empathy. The widows, widowers, and bereaved parents of the helicopter accident are still grieving. Do you care? No. It's not trending. You've moved on. Next week, you will have moved to whatever bleeding thing the media leads with. Nimeatakiwa. Until the next calamity. So please, spare me moral posturing and virtuous signaling. I don't have the time or luxury of idle minds. That is the economic advisor to the president of the Republic of Kenya, saying people are dying every day.
Does it mean we shouldn't care?
Yeah, he's saying there's
because of floods.
You shouldn't over empathize with this situation. That's what is. That's his statement. People are dying every day.
We must talk about it. Yeah. We must talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, the issue will come again. Next time there is floods, people will also die. So let him not say that people die every day. Yes, people die every day, but there is some circumstances that we shouldn't keep quiet.
Yeah,
we shouldn't keep quiet, because I wish and I pray that he's not affected, because if he is affected, like maybe he's living in Runda where there's no maybe he's living in those higher ground. Yes,
he's the one at higher grounds.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's him. Actually, we have a picture, a very funny editorial picture. Very funny. Where? Flooding imetoa graves wametokezea. You can take a village out of the village, bro. They took me out of the village, but still.
That's why they use People Alliance. Bush.
Nitolewa village nikapelekwa bush. So we have a picture, an editorial cartoon that has that moving to higher ground order. Very funny. I'd like to hear you guys' interpretation of what Dula has done here. Dula is Daily Nation, right? Dula is Standard. Okay. Dula is the Daily Nation. The editorial cartoon here that is displayed on the screen for you there. Tuanze na President. What do you interpret there? Of one, I see a caricature of Raila Odinga. Alafu huyo mwingine hapo nyuma ni WSR mwenyewe. Rao na WSR. What is your interpretation of that?
That is the one that is smoking. Is it smoking?
Smoking is coming. Do you have the Daily Nation there, Nick? Page 15. Maybe you can reference it there rather than on the screen. Page 15 of the Daily Nation. Huku mbele. So smoke is coming out of the ears of what is representing President William Ruto. They are in floods. Alafu ni kama hiyo kitu ya Rao ya kuongea imeanguka.
I think the interpretation here, vapor, the smoke will always come out and disappear. So he's talking about moving to higher grounds. I think
it's hot air.
That is a hot air. It is a hot air.
Yeah. And Raila Odinga, any interpretation?
I can see Raila Odinga is having a lot of hands.
Yeah. Pointing everywhere.
Sema
higher ground iko kila mahali. Nick, what do you make of it?
Well, one, I see It reminds me of in early days we used to watch Cartoon Network, right? And when someone is really upset, he gets so mad that smoke comes out of his
yes
his ears.
That sound of the train.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what is happening now to President Ruto, because one, Raila Amolo Odinga is saying there is no higher ground. The other side, Ruto is expecting Raila Amolo Odinga to be quiet because he's doing a frontier. That brings us to the issue of AU.
Yes, middlemen politics in Africa.
You know, what people don't understand that President Ruto only has one vote. Only one.
Na influence.
And you see,
as the...
What do you mean influence? How do you guide a secret ballot?
You guide it before you go give speeches, Pan-African.
And these are presidents who are politicians. How many presidents is he going to promise interests?
Right.
So he cannot assure Raila Amolo Odinga
of anything
apart from his vote.
Yeah. Which we are also not sure that he will in a secret ballot. Secret ballot.
Somalia have fronted one lady called Fauzia Adam Yusuf. And recently I saw a tweet that from one guy called Harun Maruf. Harun Maruf was saying that Africa is made of 54 countries. Out of the 54 countries, 30 of them are Islamic nations. Kenya is a
Christian nation.
And to make the pot boiling, our stand between Palestine and Israel war, we stood with
Israel.
Exactly.
Not we stood. The Kenyan government stood with Israel.
No, you have to be very careful because the president is the head of state.
Yes.
His stand is our stand.
No, not the head of my opinion. He can have his stand.
30 countries which are Muslim-led are saying we're going to support Fauzia.
It's going to be an uphill
in
to
retaliation against Kenya, which is our Christian-led. So Baba only has 24 nations. So tell me. And then recently, I think when you saw how this nomination process started, the AUC or the African Union are proposing that for once let us have a lady.
Oh.
That is why recently, when Uhuru was, my party leader was president, he frontiered Amina Mohammed.
I remember.
Who was also
a lady.
And
a
also
Muslim lady
you have
from Kenya.
So Baba has seen this.
Oh, wow.
I've taken you through the process.
Okay.
And I told you.
You attend your class. I've seen it.
I told you before we sat here, I told you Baba is not going anywhere.
Oh, wow.
That's why he's back.
Okay, that's why he's back.
That's
with the
why he's
statements
back
from
to-
last week. So
Yes.
he's had foresight on what is going to happen.
Because we had seen it's like he has gone to vie for AU.
And he was no longer
He was no
acceptance.
longer there. We could see Martha Karua and Jeremiah Kioni leading Kenyans, but Raila now he can see things clearly that he's not getting where he expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can he have? They have a question here on the editorial, on the opinion section under the editorial. A very good question. Nick ashasema hiyo. Hiyo sahau. So can Raila have his cake and eat it? Can he be an opposer of the Kenya Kwanza government and still expect them to support his bid?
I think
or he has already realized that, clearly, as Nick amesema, huyu vote moja na zero influence.
I really admire Raila Odinga because he never gave up. Despite all that time, he has been there for Kenyans. Even if whatever happens, he will always be there. And he will put things as they are. Because if we don't have the opposition, the government, Kenyans will always suffer.
Okay.
Kenyans will...
Does it have to be Raila? That's the question Kenyans are asking themselves lately. What
not
happens
really,
when he's
but
not there anymore?
Not really, and we wish there will be another person that will replace Raila because one day he will no longer be there.
Yeah.
And we must have an opposition leader,
Okay.
so that it will act as a watchdog of the government.
Yeah, I have a side question outside of Raila Odinga. As a president of of a university institution, do you have opposition?
Opposition is always there, everywhere.
Yeah.
So you must work smart,
Okay.
because there is other people trying to prove that you are not capable to that job. So
Okay.
they put you to task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Nick, still ushapena stance yako. To keep distance, as they say in Kenya. But I still have a question. Can Raila have his cake and eat it? Just in case maybe he has memorized a few Quran verses here and there, and in his speech might convince half of the Muslim nations to vote for him. Can he do opposition and still?
The editor of that piece suggests that Baba is in Kenya Kwanza. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
One thing that people have to realize that Baba is going to Africa as a Kenyan, not as an Azimio leader, not as a Kenya Kwanza leader. He's representing the issues
of Kenyans at large and
at
Africans.
large.
Yeah.
You understand? Baba is not Kimani Ichung'wah, where he's control left, right, and center because he's the majority leader. No. So, Richard, your house is burning, and because I have water, I keep drinking my water.
Yeah. I'm thirsty, bro.
Bro, if it's burning at your house, it means what comes next?
My
Your house will burn.
My house is next.
That's what Baba is trying to say.
Okay.
Kenya cannot burn and I keep quiet. Because in the name of AU, he's even willing to risk the AU seat.
Okay.
That's how I'm looking at it.
All right. So I will interpret the hands pointing to mean that Baba ametafuta higher ground. Yake haioni. Ni AU, ni opposition, ni Nyanza. So that will be my interpretation of that editorial cartoon.
Even so, I know the man, because the man is a political enigma. He can still have the seat.
Yeah.
One thing I know about
be a good retirement package for him, I bet.
I know, because it will be very. I told you here, people in politics rarely retire.
What do they do?
They die.
They die fast.
Very rare.
Well, I am really hoping still with the dynamics of politics across Africa, we have quite some influence. Even pointing out Uhuru Kenyatta.
I'll give you a very good example. Forget about Kenya for once. Look at US. Have you seen Obama retiring?
No.
He's still on the street campaigning for Biden like never before, making sure that Trump does not come back with his crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Because having a delusional president like Trump, who sat on the COVID report on his desk in the name of making money, it is very dangerous. You understand?
Right.
And that is why Kenyans, we are saying that if things comes at worse, Ruto has to serve one term. Because he's a guy who had crazy and exciting ideas.
I have to say, it doesn't have to come to the worst. We're already there. But
you understand?
It can be a one term already.
I think every day, how did we believe that Mama Mboga will sit on cabinet?
There's no Mama Mboga on the cabinet?
Have you seen one?
No Boda Boda rider yet?
Probably it's Aisha Jumwa. Or probably it's Mithika Linturi. I've not even seen my good friend Alfred Mutua speak nowadays. Amepeleka huko kwa wanyama.
Politicians do not retire. They die fast. President, just one last one before we move away from Raila's dilemma in the race for the top AU job. I had thought initially that he actually has a bigger leverage, given the level of maybe it's an assumption. I feel like we play high-level politics as Kenya. Take an example of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has been in peacekeeping missions left, right, center across the continent, which means he has amassed a level of influence. The president sits as chairperson of a certain committee in the African Union. When it comes to East African politics, currently I think it's Yoweri Museveni who's the head at EAC, but previously when Uhuru Kenyatta was president, ndio alikuwa kusema EAC. We don't have that much power to just
push Raila Odinga to AU.
Yes.
I don't think it will be possible.
Global politics are at a play.
But Raila, I don't know how they are playing his cards, but it will be difficult if he's opposing the government. He's talking about what the government has not done, what it has done, and he still expects support from the government, from Kenya. You know, one thing in politics, you have to get support. As much as you have your own support, you need others people's support so that you can succeed.
Yes.
But we saw President William Ruto and Raila Odinga. I don't know whether it's in Tanzania.
In Uganda.
In Uganda.
Yes.
They went together, and now I don't know. We can't.
Forget about Uganda. Raila was seated behind the president
Recently, last week on Monday. Yes.
Sometimes
it was there was conversation that he was hoping to get a chance to address the heads of state, and he wasn't given that chance. Probably the tantrums after explain it.
Actually, I don't need to speak. I just need to be behind you to show how powerful I am.
To be in the picture.
You understand?
That is taken.
Because everything in politics is perception.
Yeah.
But people are saying Raila Odinga wants his cake. He wants a cake, meat from the government, or maybe he was promised AU seat and he will be supported. But now it looks like
that support is neither here or there.
Yeah, that support is no longer there.
As it's like the corruption.
We can't understand, but we wish him well.
Yeah, but I feel like that he came out to, say some few things against the government, and that has rattled the camp there.
That shows that he's a true patriot to his country, to the people.
And you see, it is even evidence. Until Baba spoke, Ruto did not even step in Mathare.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Until he spoke. So it means how powerful what he says
is. Okay.
And of course, at the end of the day, I keep telling you that Ruto has only one vote. Convincing 54 people who have interest.
Of their own very serious interests.
You understand? It is a huge task for Raila Amolo Odinga. I don't know how he's going to do it. I wish him well.
He's been convincing 8 million plus. I hope that isn't such.
I hope he reaches to Nigeria, where the population is around 24 million.
So, just to also highlight a bit of a story I talked about when I started the show, before you gentlemen can give me one story.
62 million of...
Bro, 62.1.
You know, I was reading that story that these
former CS were being
these people walk to my relative, they found money that is not mine, and they say it is mine.
It's your relative. Where is
I've not talked to my relative maybe for years. Richard, come on. How often do you talk to your relatives?
I don't remember.
So I read it, I was just laughing. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they had 4,500 pieces of $100 denominations. 4,500 pieces of $100 denominations. That totals up to 62.1 million. Imeka tu kwa nyumba. So there's allegations against him or on money laundering. It seems that this relative of former CS Ukur Yatani is a key agent of his embezzlement of funds between 2013 and 2024, totaling up to 1.2 billion. And this is public funds. What does it say about us when the CS of Treasury, the place where we are supposed to take care of our money, is where our money is? Well, the money got lost while he was governor. I can't imagine how much money was lost in his tenure as CS Treasury.
But it's shocking because, you know, the kind of corruption that our leaders are showing and they are portraying is not a good picture, because you don't expect a treasury that we are expecting to handle our money well. They're the ones that are putting such allegations.
Right.
We don't expect, so that's why Kenyans have already lost hope. They don't have any hope with the leaders that are in the government, with the people that are working in the government. So
the
unless
people that are supposed to do the background checks, because there was vetting.
How can you tell? How can you tell a thief to check for you and to inspect
another thief?
Another thief. It is hard.
Send a thief to catch a thief, though. Is that what they say, Nick?
It is very hard, and
I'm not a thief, so I may not know.
Samuel.
So it's high time, you know. As my friend here said, favors and corruption, they go hand in hand, because if I give you favors, you expect me to give you
a favor back.
A favor back. So it's high time each Kenyan to take that responsibility, that corruption, to end corruption. Because if I take it as a burden to me to end corruption, things will get well. But it's hard, because even the people that in the government, some of them, they don't have papers. A lot of people want to get jobs without papers.
Don't talk about our governor of Nairobi like that, bro.
No, I have not mentioned anyone.
Yes, but true. It is telling.
But it is true.
Yes. It is quite telling when our leaders.
We never saw them acting. We only saw them. Maybe he was trimming someone.
Yeah.
Maybe someone that wanted to question the government. Now maybe the president or the deputy president knew that person that don't have any paper.
Yeah.
So he had to talk about it so that he can keep
get
quiet.
some
Because
as well.
They have a lot of politics.
Yes.
They politicize everything.
I can also easily say that maybe this is as well politicized, but it's a good move by EACC.
No, it is very much politicized, because Yatani has been up and about in Marsabit recently, uniting the people of Marsabit. And I know whose hand it is. I know whose hand it is.
You can see it.
Yes, I can see it.
Utwambi?
I'm not sure right now. The ministry that is holding is very powerful. I might closely. My plane may not land. No, my plane may not land safely.
Wow.
No,
heavy statement.
So, and we are saying that he's being grafted for county government of Marsabit. Where was EACC when he was treasurer?
During that time. And we know that yes, Ukur Yatani, Jubilee government, which means Uhuru Kenyatta.
This is a guy, this is a person who went through vetting process.
Yes.
And one of the vetting process is EACC.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. What happened during the vetting for him to be CS?
You understand?
Yeah.
So I want to question Twalib Mbarak. What is he doing in Murang'a and in Marsabit?
Good person to ask. Good person to ask.
It's high time the government stop talking about things that have passed. You are coming to tell us that somebody was corrupt and he went through vetting.
Yeah.
How? So it means even though the vetting process was corrupt.
Yeah, which means the people who did the vetting process.
Yes, they are corrupt.
We should start with.
Yeah, in EACC.
Yeah, we start
vetting that. They slept on ukose kufanya job last time, alafu tena saa hizi useme sikufanya last time, but let's do it now. We should start with you.
Because it is said, if you want to chase birds away, you must cut the tree.
Yeah.
Let us not be throwing stones to birds
every other time.
The tree is still there. It will not be possible.
All right.
Yeah.
They're saying here, kwa masikio yangu, defund EACC. Defund EACC Viva. All right, so those are opinions. We are here to give out opinions on what has been there in the dailies. There are so many stories we could touch on. It is 9:54
in the meantime.
In the morning, right?
Ezra Chiloba is an ambassador.
Yes, to Los Angeles. Atakuwa ajifurahisha huko Hollywood.
Apparently, the EACC also missed that, right?
They missed that. We'll find out in the next government when you come to reevaluate. Guys, I would have given you a chance to bring up one more story, but hakuna time. So I'll just reserve this few minutes, this one minute for last remarks. But nataka kwanza leo to chambue just one statement each on what you think about this quote at the back of the Business Daily, what your interpretation is. This is coming very apt because we are in a rainy season and it's about water, or it's related to water. So it's a quote by Apple CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. He says, "You want to be the pebble in the pond that creates the ripple for change." You want to be the pebble in the pond that creates the ripple for change. How do you interpret it?
That one is quite heavy. You can't be a pebble to a lake that.
You want to be the pebble in the pond that creates the ripple for change.
I think he's addressing the government, the President William Ruto, to, you know, if you have a pond here and then you throw a pebble, it will bring no change. It will bring no change. So it is high time the government, the 10 billion that he said, the 10,000 that he gave to those people, those are not enough to those people. Right. Those are not enough to solve these problems. They need more. They need to do more so that they can solve this problem of floods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick?
Well, I didn't think of that.
That angle.
Angle. Well, how I'm thinking about it, a pebble is a small stone.
Yes.
So when you throw it on a pond, there's usually that ripple effect that it moves, it creates. So this guy is saying, I'll use the smallest element to create a large ripple effect. So we engineers know that the ripple effect starts from the smallest point of view. So the where it first hit in the pond, how the water moved to the boundaries of the pond. That is what he's talking about. That's what I interpret.
Okay. So you want to be that pebble that creates the change.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the pebble that doesn't create change
Yes.
in terms of 10,000 bob and whatnot. I wonder how much 10K can feed a family of 4 people for. How long? How long it can?
It is not possible.
You get housing, you move, really. Anyway. Guys, we are closing it at this point. So I'm going to give you a chance to do just a shout out and a remark. Let me just say that Mugeni Nelly has been watching the show. I make a fire emoji tatu. They should warm us in these cold times. Sharon Mwaniki, it's only corruption if it doesn't favor you. Christians call it favor. And we call it connections. Connections muhimu Nairobi. Kama una connections, tafuta favor. Corruption achia serikali.
Please repeat it. It's only
corruption if it doesn't favor you.
Richard.
Christians.
I hope you have heard. I told you, it's neither here nor there.
Corruption is neither here nor there, man. Any connections? Anyway, thank you guys for creating time.
It's
you so 9:57,
much,
so which means we have like 30 seconds each. Closing remark, shout out, and then we wrap it up. Thank you for creating time for us here. Let's start with the president.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate for being here, for being your guest today. And I would like to say hi to all youths, my friends and my family. And to Mheshimiwa, there is one of my friend, Mheshimiwa George Theuri. He works in the office of Deputy President. I want to wish him a good day, and he's a good mentor to me. So thank you so much, and next time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Next time we'll get to talk about more of Kabete politics.
Yes.
The affairs of students.
Yeah.
Thank you for creating time as well. Nick?
Well, one is to thank the people of Mount Kenya Colleges and University Student Association and for the courage, the confidence, and the hope that they have bestowed with me. I want to acknowledge our National Treasurer, President Eston Maina. I want to acknowledge my National Chairman, Faris Jane, and each and every single members of MKUSA. Two, let me thank the people of Roysambu. They have really been patient enough with Mwafrika Kamande. And recently we have seen, I know yesterday I saw a press conference of one James Wanjohi trying to vindicate himself. But I want to wish them well. And I tell the people of Roysambu that all is not lost at all. All is not lost. And then finally, because I come from Nairobi, where my party, the Jubilee Party, under the stewardship of our SG, able SG, Jeremiah Kioni, and our party leader, Uhuru Muigai wa Kenyatta, who have bestowed confidence in me among the youth in Nairobi County.
Yeah.
To tell them thank you, and thank you,
right.
And have a blessed day.
Thank you too, Nick. So always glad to have you here to get your insights on what we are facing as a state of the nation. Thank you also as well for tuning into the show. But before I thank you and thank everyone else, I would like to extend my gratitude to all those who've responded to the crisis that we're having across the country, all those who've responded to the victims of flooding, landslides, wherever cars have been, swept off the roads, the updates actually, people who are informing us of what is happening where, so that we are aware of that, and those who are responding. So just maybe a particular shout out to Hanifa Farsafi, Hanifa Farsafi has been on the fight for the environment for a while, and now this time with flooding, this affects what she's very passionate about, and has been responding to people in Mathare and other slums, giving them relief food, clothing, shelter. Some of them are sheltered in their friends' places and in her place as well. So just congratulations to her for the work that she's doing, that she continues to do this better than most of the leaders that we are having. I'm not mincing my words. So thanks to her, to Red Cross, and everyone else who is involved in this effort. Thanks to you for creating time for us this show. We've run past time, so we're grateful that you were able to be patient up to this time. From my